Hi, everyone. Let's get started, shall we? All right. For those that I have not met, I don't know if there's any in the room, but I am Michelle Grimolia, the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond, and you are officially in attendance at the best meeting of the month that we have at Woodland Pond. So give yourselves a round of applause. I mean, there's another meeting that's apparently better, Tom, which is? Residence Council is second best. I mean, true. It's going to just be amazing tomorrow. So if you don't have anything going on tomorrow at 10 in the classroom, come to the Residence Council meeting. They're open meetings and they're also very good meetings. All right, Sarah, want to start us off? Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Leonard, the Resident Services Director. Great to see everyone. I just have a couple of quick activity updates, a couple changes. So this Thursday, January 19th at 11:15, here in the PAC, the monthly Episcopal service, which is normally held in the Health Center Great Room, will take place here. So that's one change. Next, on Thursday, January 19th at 2 p.m. in the PAC, this will be the next Council Connections session, and the guest is Nora Brown, who is the leader of Movement, Music, and You, which is the group activity. She'll be interviewed by Elaine Heffernan, so that'll be something that you don't want to miss. So again, that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. And one more addition, Thursday, again tomorrow, January 19th at 3 p.m. here, classical violinist Tom Alfs, originally scheduled to perform in the Health Center in the Great Room, will perform here, and you're all invited to come to that. So again, a really great violinist for you to enjoy. And also on Table Games, which is a fairly new program that I understand people are really enjoying, they meet on Mondays at 7 p.m. in the classroom. And starting this Saturday, they will meet every Saturday at 2 p.m. in the art studio. So feel free to come and enjoy that. Table Games is an opportunity for people, Helen, correct me if I get this incorrect, is an opportunity for people to bring a table game that they enjoy and just meet other people and have a game. Yep, it's going to be on Mondays at 7 p.m. in the classroom and Saturdays at 2 p.m. in the art studio. So Helen Frauenbach teaches the new games. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for me? All right, Tom, you're welcome.
Hello, I'm Tom Tango, Director of Plant Operations. A couple things. Just today, I picked up the building permit for the third cottage that we're building out there. So I don't know how much work is going to start out there for the winter, but there'll probably be some. So might see some activity out there, but we have the permit for that this morning. The other thing, we don't have a whole lot of information on, but we just met yesterday with a lot of municipal emergency services agencies, and including the Office of Emergency Management from the county. And in early fall, we're going to be having a multi-agency drill here, meaning like it's going to be police, fire, different fire. It's going to be a larger event. And the purpose of that is for us to test our plans, but also for the agencies, for the police or the fire who've never been here to come and, experience what it would be like to respond here in such a larger event. So there's not a lot of information to share right now. The planning has just begun, but that will be happening. And as we know more, we'll let you know more. The other thing is we're going to be getting in early spring 4 more EV charging stations. They'll be located over closer to the health center entrance. There'll be 4 more coming in. I don't have a time frame on those. That's kind of weather dependent also. There's a lot of work involved getting the power out from the building to there, but that's underway. Also, underway and sort of segueing on the whole EV sustainability thing is the LED bulb swap. We have like a well-oiled machine, well, sort of, a little more oil it needs, but, but it's going well. And we've done, I can say we have completed a floor already. Well, a small floor. But it's done. You know, and how it works is we come in and you have an advanced person or a resident volunteer will come in and they'll talk to you about what bulbs you want to swap. And then a highly trained, equipped, skilled team comes behind that and changes the bulbs, you know, in the apartment that you want changed. We have a few more logistic things to work out because you can plan all you want until you actually, you know, there, it works a little different. So next Tuesday, 10:30, we're going to be in the 3rd floor of Central, but the even number apartments, like the left side of the hallway going down. All right. And then as we get better at it, we'll get more and more apartments. But for right now, that's, you know, it's a, you know, but it's like I say, it's going well. And I think we're going to go through a lot more bulbs than we had thought. I thought I ordered enough. I don't think I did. And also bit by bit, we're learning some other bulbs. I just today ordered some 40-watt equivalents and some 25-watt equivalents. So we have some more. And what it is, real quick for you, the 60-watt bulbs that we got from the program, we'll give you those and install those and no costs. The other size bulbs, we'll charge you whatever it is it costs us to get them. And you'll know that when we come. But that's going really well. And it's going to take a while for us to get everywhere, but we will. So it's going well. And also the other thing, real quick, the other thing was good. Like one apartment we went and did, if you looked at their lights when we went in, they had some LEDs, some incandescent, some CFLs, some different things. And when we walked out, all the lights were the same temperature, even lighting. It was, you know, it's definitely much better lighting in addition to being much more energy efficient. With that, any questions?
I'll go to Mr. Nyhouse first. Hang on.
And also, before Ralph speaks, we can also thank you, Ralph, because this whole initiative is something that Ralph thought of on the whole LED swap.
Thanks. Well, I've got a question for you.
Yep.
Totally different subject. And that is the garbage room that's on the 2nd floor south wing. That's being totally reworked.
Yes,
And any status on that particular?
yes. In that room, we discovered some mold. And because it's mold, we don't take care of it. We bring in a certified mold remediation team. They had a mold tester. They came and either today or tomorrow, they're going to complete the removal of the mold. And then a tester comes back to test any presence of mold. And once they clear it, then we'll sheetrock that wall up. They also have to do the 1st floor. So it's taken a while, but the big thing is that it's not us doing the repair. It's a certified mold abatement program who comes in and does it. And I apologize for the room being closed right now, but we'll open it up as soon as we can.
All right, going to Joe Sanders.
The light outside the in the courtyard outside the central wing is still out after 2 months. We're still in the
Wh-
dark months.
Which
so
light?
But no, the door to the courtyard from the central wing opposite the elevator, and it's pretty dark out
I
there
mean,
for
it's
folks.
the one on the wall.
Mhm. The one, people who come for dinner, people who walk their dogs, mighty dark.
All right, I'll take a look at it. I mean,
Thank you.
standing here right now, I don't know about it.
Okay.
You know, and also like if you did put a work order in a couple months ago about it, yeah, don't hesitate to be a pain in the butt about it. Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Tool.
So with this large operation in the fall, can we find somebody to film it,
Find somebody what?
to film it? for a TV show?
Oh, no, I don't think that's part of the plan, no. Any other questions?
Yep, Yakov.
Yakov?
Just as a remark, I mean, Rolf was one of the repairers for the Repair Cafe, and that's where the idea of people bringing lamps, I mean, that they were using incandescent light.
Right.
But the sequel to that is that next, not this Saturday, the Saturday the 28th, we have the third Repair Cafe here at Woodland Pond. And there is a whole array of people involved, and things seem to be going fairly well. And, you know, I thank everybody in
Good.
management that is helping and a lot of volunteers. So
Good.
we look forward. And it's going to be from 11 to 3. So it's going to be here, but hopefully we don't need to have access to the game room because, not the game room, the art studio, because it's going to be in the middle of that event
Okay,
on the 2.
all right.
I think we got one more,
One
Tom.
more, all right.
Yeah, hi. I have a lot of lamps and they do not have, they just have the regular, whatever you want to call them, kind of bulbs in them.
Right.
I understood that for the incandescent ones, you need a different fixture inside the lamp. Is
No.
that correct?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say no, but without knowing your specific lamp.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't know it, I wouldn't know. But when we come by.
Yeah.
And the advanced person comes into your apartment, you know, they'll know if that's a light we can change. I don't, you know, what's gonna happen is we might not be able to do every light in every apartment. And we might not be able to do every lamp in every apartment. If we can't, we'll get back to you with it and we can, you know, we'll come back. Or it might just be a work order. You know, with this program here, I mean, if we somehow get through this whole thing and we change 70, 80% of the lights, that's pretty good. So, you know, I'm not going to stand here and say that we're going to be able to change every light in every lamp, but we'll look.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hang on, Deborah.
How about dimmable switches? If we have ceiling lights with on dimmers, will these new bulbs be able to handle that?
The LED, not the 3-ways, but all the bulbs other than the 3-ways will be dimmable. Right. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robert Dunn, Director of Environmental Services. A lot of residents have come to me lately, you know, about the garbage rooms again, and saying that, you know, things are being put in the wrong place. And I know you guys don't like to rat each other out, which is okay. There must be a, you know, some code of ethics you guys have, which is fine. But yeah, just let us know if you see something out of place. And, you know, it's not just you guys, you know, staff members do use these garbage rooms as well. So it's education on that piece. But if you do see something out of place, let us know. But sometimes we've seen, you know, gloves or things just put in recycling that shouldn't be in there or whatnot. But if you see something out of place, just give us a call and we can address it right then and there. Okay. Any questions from you guys? Go ahead.
Here, Ms. Nyhouse.
Yes, the annual cleaning. Do you get in touch with us? We've been here a year and a half and we haven't had one.
Yes, with COVID, that did put us behind quite a bit. And it also depends on staffing. Harry will reach out to you because we're working by apartment size. So if you have a larger apartment, you're kind of towards the back end, unfortunately, but we basically had to start over because everyone had been so long between the cleanings. So if you want, you can call Carrie and, you know, she'll discuss because she has it all laid out and whatnot. We did lose, I don't know if some of those of you that did know Debbie Hull, she recently retired, unfortunately. Yeah, right. Like, what is up with that? Yeah, Debbie Hull retired, so she's no longer with us. Yes, yeah. She's allowed. I think you guys did it, right? The nerve of her to like I mean, she wanted to spend time with her husband. Who does that? You know, I don't understand it, but Debbie was a great part of our annual team. So we do have to replace her and get that team back into place so we can move things along more efficiently. So we're looking for a Debbie replacement right now. So. Yeah, I know. It's not easy.
All right, Ms.
It's a
Forum.
challenge.
I just have a question about some of the hedges as you come out of the resident parking. I realize we're on a turn off out of the parking lot by the art center,
Mhm.
but and I know you have the mirrors up there, but the visibility to the left is very difficult with the hedges. And I sort of inch out to make sure that there's nobody coming because you can't see.
Right. Do you wanna
And can that only be done in the spring?
Yeah, Tom's saying in the spring. Yeah.
Sorry, question.
I don't do bushes.
Couple things. One, yeah, definitely in the spring, we're gonna get to it, but I'll have somebody take a look at that one right now. But always, like, if you have a concern like that, if you see something like that, you have an issue, you don't need to wait for this meeting.
Okay.
In other words, you can put a work order in, you could email me, you know, but you don't need to wait for this meeting. I don't mean don't, but don't, like I always say, we can't see everything. We can't be everywhere. We might not, I might personally might never drive over there. So, if all these eyes are looking, where it's better.
Yeah, it's really dangerous the way it is.
Tom's number is 5705, by the way.
I'll keep you running.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy McIntyre, Director of Dining. How is everybody today? I love this turnout, just so you know. Because when I first got here, there wasn't a huge turnout. I've been here a year next month, February 7th. Woo, feels like it was just yesterday. And just so you know, I have another 20 years before I retire. So you're stuck with me because I'm not going anywhere. Okay, I wrote notes. Couple things, want to talk about Valentine's Day menus coming up. We're going to do something cool. Why not? I'll probably put those lobster tail on again because everybody loved them. I know that I've got calamari that I'm going to be putting on the menu. Oh, I love it. It's Betsy, it's either you like it or you don't. That's why you got all those other options. So just so you know, look forward to that. I'll make sure that I have it posted early. Dining committee, which I want to just take a second to tell you how amazing dining committee is for me. Monthly, I go to dining committee and they speak for you guys. So please use your dining committee because it's hard I get emails and I love the emails. I have the Happy or Not machine, but dining committee comes to me. They're your liaison and they talk to me about what you're feeling, what we're looking to have, new ideas that we want to, they also let me know what you're saying. And that we get a lot done. So I thank the dining committee, but they let me know some of the things that you guys want to see and you don't see. So I'm letting you know that new menus are coming. You guys know that we're now going into spring, summer. It's happening. You blink our eyes and it's going to be spring, but, and I'm in no rush. I'm really in no rush, but because the new menus are coming, I welcome feedback. Okay. That's why this Happy or Not machine is here too. Okay, so if you love a meal, you have got to let me know. If you dislike a meal, you've got to let me know. All right, just based on feedback alone, you're going to see Eggs Benedict probably every other week now. Every other week. And they are not allowed to put those English muffins in the oven anymore. Based on your feedback, guys, you don't know how valuable your feedback is. My chefs thought that they're so busy. Can you imagine having 30 orders of Eggs Benedict at one time? So they thought, I don't want to use toasters. Well, now I got 3 toasters set up. I don't care. We do not put English muffins in the oven, just little things. But someone told me they were tough and I asked why. And I found out. Someone told me the bagels were greasy. And every time I heard this, like you get bagels and lox and they were greasy. And I would inspect these bagels coming from Rockland and being like, I don't know what's going on. What's in the water at Woodland Pond? There's nothing greasy about these bagels. Come to find out, one of my cooks were spraying cooking spray on it. I don't even want to talk about it. My point is, I love your feedback because I can make changes. One of the most discouraging things that I heard when I first got here, and I have not heard it recently, is why tell you you're not going to do anything about it? That's not fair to me, you know, and we've come so far. Some of you tell me all the time, some of you don't. I mean, you smile at me, so I think I must be doing something okay. Items like sweet potato French fries, we're going to be ordering them today because somebody talked about them. Definitely bringing back those lobster tail. And if Jared does not put liver and onions on that menu, I know you love them. You're not the only one. I already told Jared he's fired. If I don't see liver and onions, you're fired. There's no other way of talking about it. But with your valuable feedback, I can do these things. We make jokes, but listen, the new menus are coming. There's definitely a criteria when we make new menus. You know that the health center is connected to you guys. We have recipes that, you know, we've talked about having nutritional facts online. That's one of my goals this year. So that being said, I do have to follow recipes. It can't be your grandmother's aunt's recipe that you think is good. We get our menu choices and recipes from a senior living program that Sodexo puts out. But that being said, there are items you want to see. Tell your dining committee, tell your email me, put it in the happy or not machine. Because right now, every time I think about something, I'm like, Jared, I know they love this. And he just rolls his eyes and you'll have it all. Happy or not, let's talk about it quick because I want to bring this to you. On 1/15, I got a message, I got an email on January 15th telling me that the blackened flank steak was tender and amazing. The rice and beans that came with it was outstanding. I was so happy to get that email. Well, I got the happy or not saying that beef was terrible. It was tough and had no taste. So I win some, I lose some. The cauliflower and quinoa was awful. Dry. I guess it was dry and tasteless. Roasted potatoes tasted if they'd been sitting out all day. Serenity was a good waitress. That's good. Serenity just turned 16. Her father is one of our chefs in the kitchen. She, first job, first everything. She looks about 10. And you guys have been so patient with her. We have new staff that just started. I think we have a new Emily during the day. We have a Tessa. Please just, we're training them. You guys know it's a work in progress, but that's one of the best things that Michelle tells me about Woodland Pond is I can bring these young, you know, first jobs, first like ever real responsibility. Okay. The pork dish could have used a little more juice. Okay. What happened to those sweet potato French fries? Great chef salad. Joshua was a great waiter. Thank you for making potatoes without garlic. Emily is polite and willing, but needs more experience. Good salmon, thanks. Now wait for it. Em was a great waitress today. Liver and onions were terrific. Monday's brisket was inedible. I had Monday's brisket. It was so good. But someone told me it was edible. And yeah, Emily is great. I have 2 Emilys, so we're going to get a lot of Emily is great. I'm going to name them differently. I haven't thought about all that. We're going to have fun with that because we need to be able to know about these 2 Emilys and figure out how we're going to call what they're going to call them. Shorter than tall Emily. I'll think about it. Can we do that, Ina? I don't know. All right, I'll let them pick it that way, and I'll let you all know. It says Emily is great. Ruth was wonderful. Pancakes were delicious. Could have been bigger and warmer. There's more pages. I got about 5 responses to the liver and onions. Everybody loved the liver, was cooked perfect. Everybody was happy with the liver. It's either you hate it or you love it, Jenny. There's just no. Okay, this is so valuable. I bring these to you so we can laugh a little, lighten our day, understand what your, fellow residents are saying to me, but this machine helps me. There's a report that I pull weekly that shows me what days we had wins and losses. Literally, it'll say that Sunday, most of my painful, sad faces came in. The best day of the week was Wednesday and Thursday. It helps me. I can look at those menu choices. I can make sure that those items are going on your next menu. Your feedback is valuable, positive, negative, in between. It means a lot to me. Okay. I told you that already. Staffing update. We got a brand new cook, super excited. His name is, we call him Blue. His name is Dewan. He likes blue. He is a chef. He worked last 5 years on the line at Shadows in Poughkeepsie. So he's got a long background. He has probably worked at every restaurant, any bougie restaurant in Poughkeepsie, from like the Brasserie to Baby Cakes to Beach Tree. He's got a long line of places, but he spent the last 5 years at Shadows. He ended up leaving there. When they come into our kitchen, they're excited because we pay them well. You guys, we do. We really do respectively pay them. Plus, they have something called work-life balance that most cooks and chefs do not have. So they can be gone with our reservation system. They can be gone by 7:30. It's amazing. So they can go home to their children, their families, whatever they decide. In most restaurants, you're not getting out till 11 o'clock at night. One of the biggest reasons I left the Rhinecliff is because during wedding season, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, I was there till midnight. And then I was there Sunday morning for brunch. I took Mondays and Tuesdays off, but I was a zombie. And that's not work-life balance. So that's why I went into healthcare and now finally with you guys. When I come in here 6 days a week, I'm not playing the martyr. It's like a breath of fresh air. Like I like coming to see you. I can come in a couple extra hours to make sure your New Year's Day is perfect. To me, that's why I'm here, you know? So this gentleman, Blue, he loves it here. He's been here about a week. I've already brought him in my office and he's excited because we have the quality of food that he's accustomed to, but we have the work-life balance that he loves and that chefs deserve. So I just wanted to say that to you. We are, you know, Jared called the culinary yesterday because you guys know that we got approved for the Culinary Institute externship program. I think I've mentioned that before, but I'll remind you. Yes. So based on what we do, they come in, you know, they check the kitchen, they saw our menus, they did interviews, we were approved for that CIA program. So I've now asked Jared in the new year to get us some students. Most chefs in the culinary don't think they want to come in and cook for a health center or for the dining room here. But when they see what we do and what we actually put out, they're amazed. So Jared's starting, we have to sign up for some recruiting. We've spoken to the gentleman twice, but now we have to go to like their table recruiting where we will buy a table and we tell the students to come see us. But we're actually at a position where culinary students want to come into our kitchen and cook. Sometimes culinary students can't make grilled cheese. You all respect that, correct? But it's the point that we're at a level that we can have them now. So please keep that in mind when you're in the dining room, okay? All right, I could go on forever, so I'm gonna stop. Any questions for me for dining?
You know what mine is.
I'm ready, go ahead.
For a long time, previous to being on the dining committee, I was an observer. I then joined the dining committee because I thought I might have a little more power. My concern is Saturday lunch. This is one meal out of the entire 7-day week. There is no opportunity for independent residents to eat. All I'm asking for is perhaps the pub to be open with a limited menu for a late breakfast, early lunch. I have been canvassing all of you, and many, many, many of you have told me that is a concern. I have visitors on Saturday. I have no place to bring them. I have no opportunity for lunch myself.
Okay.
I know that kitchen is working. We have to feed the health center. I am not going to sit still and listen to the excuses that you have given me over the last few months.
Do you remember?
We need a meal at lunchtime on Saturday.
Okay, so here's the deal. I never say no to anything. So that's amazing. Yeah, we can clap to that. Absolutely. So one thing I say at dining committee all the time, I try never to say no. I don't like the word no. We have to discuss things. We have to figure out opportunities and compromises. So what I had said to you the past couple months, how long you been doing dining committee now? Like 3-4 months? 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. So she brought it up, Jen brought it up right away. And what What I explained at that point is that we were short-staffed with cooks. We were 3 cooks down, okay? So that means that on Monday mornings, I come in at 7 a.m. and I literally cook on the line to help support the chef that we have in there, okay? That means that Jared does 6 days a week sometimes because Jared works Monday through Fridays. He comes in at 9 in the morning and leaves at 7 at night. But he's been coming in on Saturdays and Sundays to support his staff. Because 3 cooks down, full-time, 40 hours, 4 times 3, that's 120 hours of manpower we were down. 2 months ago, we got a wonderful gentleman, Andreas, come in. He was also from Shadows, and now he's the one who referred Blue. That's 2 gentlemen. Blue's only been here a week. We now have 2 brand new cooks. We are only 1 cook down. So the opportunity to open for lunch will happen. When I first got here, you wanted lunch, the bistro open, and I asked you to give me some time. I started in February. You wanted it open February 10th. I started on the 7th. I asked you for a few months. I had it open, I think by like June. I think we did about May or June because I needed the time and the staff to be able to execute it. If I can't do it correctly, then I can't do it at all. So it was because of the short staff. So Andreas has been with us a month. Blue has been with us a week, I think, maybe like 10 days now, not even. So now if I can get that one more cook, I would love to open. I would like to do the bistro. And if you talk about sit down, because, or I mean, we could do the pub, because you have to understand, I would have to have, if I do the bistro, no, if I do the pub, I still have to have a cook to cook the food for the pub. So I might as well just do the bistro and have that open for lunch. That would make much more sense. So I would love for us to talk about that. It's definitely never off the table. And I think I asked you to keep bringing it up. What I said to Ginny, every month, bring it up to me. Don't let it go to the wayside because I'm not saying no. I just have to have an honest conversation with you about recruiting. So these 2 gentlemen have started. Let me get them both fully trained, and I will absolutely look into opening the bistro for lunch. No doubt. Of course. Yeah. How are you? Right behind you.
Hi, I think you have heard from me sometimes.
Always. Which I like. That's a good thing. That's a compliment.
That's what you said. Anyway, I do want to express my concern, and I share it with some other people, that food is frequently oversalted and there's an awful lot of sugared foods. And if in our age group, there are so many people I'm not on any medication. I don't have high blood pressure, I don't think. Maybe I'll get it. But I would still like to keep my salt low and my sugar low. And it's sometimes impossible. Sometimes I have to try to translate the terminology and figure out if that means sugared, because it's not always clear, but sometimes the description.
I think, well, that's where the nutritional values that you can look up online will help us with a lot of items. So I can tell you that if we did a show of hands now, of everyone who said our food is sugared too much, I would probably have, I don't know, 30% of the room agree with you. Of a population of, so out of 100 people, I don't know. We're not going to do that right now. So this is the first time it's been brought to me that the food is over sugared. I've never heard that statement before.
I've
So
written it.
I read all of yours, I promise. And if you have, then I apologize. That being said, I get a lot of preferences every day. You know what I mean? Because did you see some of the faces about the liver that I'm serving? But I will still serve it for the ones who want it. I was at the dining committee once where I had someone tell me how they were very upset with all the garlic I used. And as the person was speaking, every one of the other people at the dining committee was like, "Ooh, I love garlic. You don't use enough." At the same time, this gentleman was telling me I use too much. So that's preference. So let me work on these new menus. I'm going to make Jared very aware of what you're saying. They're following strict recipes, just so you know. It's a senior recipes.
That's hard to believe. I mean, they don't follow it because it's very heavy. I'm talking about an old population, and I think the figures are real clear about incipient diabetes and high blood pressure.
So from there, all I can do is tell you that I can go back to my team and re-educate them. I can speak
That
to
would
them,
help.
let them know that your concerns today were brought to me. And then I'll let Jared know, and then they have to be more aware of how they're doing salting the food. Are we feeling there's an overall consensus that the food is oversalted? So you know what? It doesn't mean that we can't be mindful of this. We will be mindful of this situation, and I'll make sure that Jared knows that those recipes need to be followed. Thank you. Yeah, of course. We're done?
Thanks, Amy. And Annette, just to your point, this has something that has been raised here and there over the years. We did a survey maybe a year ago, and we asked residents to identify themselves in different categories of eaters. So whether they're on a low sodium diet, whether they have hypertension, because we were trying to prove or dispel this comment that everyone should be eating, low sodium. It didn't prove out in the numbers. So yes, I mean, everyone should eat as healthy as they can. There's no doubt about it. But there are some people here that just want to eat a burger every day because they say the end is coming for me anyway. So our responsibility is not this, and this actually ties into some of the feedback I got about raising the concern about the alcohol consumption. Many have come out and said, I hope Michelle doesn't take away the alcohol. And Michelle is not going to take away the alcohol. Your choice of your food is in your hands. So our responsibility is to make sure that we offer no alcohol and low sodium and reasonable sodium. You're adults in independent living. We have to take some responsibility for that. But our responsibility, Amy, is providing the information and choice and taking feedback from the dining committee. So, okay. Hi, everyone. So, if you guys want to go, you can. I don't think I mean, you can go or stay. It's up to you. No surprises. No surprises. All right, a couple things. So look on your calendars for kitchen tours. Okay. We do a lot here to try to empower you to really see what's going on behind the scenes and kind of dispel myths. A lot of places don't open their kitchen for kitchen tours. Okay. Please, before you decide to make a comment about, oh, well, we use this frozen food, nothing gets prepared from scratch, take the opportunity that we're offering you to educate yourself and see firsthand. Many of you have done the tours and you have found them to be very eye-opening. Our kitchen is clean. We've got a huge number of production staff in there. We've got a ton of fresh food. You can see how everything's prepared, where the dishes are cleaned, all of it. Please take advantage. I know that you can find time in your calendars to do it, maybe not if this month, then in a future month. But we do these things so that we can be as open and transparent as possible. If we don't see people taking advantage of it, it makes it very frustrating to hear criticisms of things that we're doing when we see that people have not attempted to validate or dispel that myth. So please, we're doing this to try to give you the information so that you can guide us on these things. Same thing with the health center. Very important, okay? We have resumed our health center tours. And I understand that the health center is a scary place to some. I think you all owe it to yourselves at some point, maybe with a friend or when you're feeling comfortable, to walk through and really understand what we're talking about. The health center is a different setting. Just as assisted living is different than memory care, that is different than skilled nursing. It's not just all one thing. I think it's an opportunity for you to educate yourselves, especially if you're on the health center committee. I'm sure you're attending, but it's important that we are offering these opportunities. We would never force anyone to do it. I can understand that there's some discomfort with that, but it's not the scary place that you think that it is. I am over in the health center now every day for the next 3 months. I mean, I'm over there every day anyway, but I'm over there for roughly half of my day now as I'm covering Philip's sabbatical. So if you would like me to have a meeting with you, we can do that too. I mean, my calendar's a little bit full covering 2 jobs, but I can try to do that. But please try to take advantage of a health center tour if you're even moderately interested, because it is something that a lot of people express opinions about and things that we should be doing differently in the health center. But a lot of the people that have the opinions have not even been in any part of the health center. So we do offer these opportunities so that you can educate yourself. Yakov talked about the repair cafe. That's going to be next Saturday in this room from 11 to 3. Please bring your stuff that could use a repair. Thank you to all of the resident volunteers that will participate in that and hopefully help us save a bunch of things from the waste stream. It's something that I think we should all be very proud of. And thank you to Yakov and the Sustainability Committee and all the volunteers for that. Yes. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you to Dave Smith to spearheading a program that you may be hearing about for the first time, but he has been working with Cameron, our strategic initiative specialist, to adopt a highway for Woodland Pond, and the sign is up. So we have adopted a highway, and we will be looking for resident volunteers. Tom, did you help with that too? Oh, you're into that? So it's a stretch. Where is it exactly, Dave? If you want to bring the mic over, Jason.
It's on 299, and it's if you know where Lowe's is about in the middle of it, so it's on one side of Lowe's and on the other. And we chose that among several that were offered to us when we made first contact with State Department of Transportation. And Cameron and I felt this was the most closest to Woodland Pond, but also the most accessible from both sides of the road. It's got wide shoulders, so when we get out there working, we can park on both sides of the road. Part of the rail trail is on the highway on the other side of it, and I haven't spoken with Cameron yet, so I'm sure she has more details about when we might expect to begin. But thank you for supporting it, and also for volunteering to buy the pickers that we're going to need to get into the brambles and pick out some of that stuff. So the committee, I'm sure the Lake Conservation Committee, be talking more about this on Friday. So you want to come to a meeting and hear more? You're
And so
welcome.
we need 6 people every day for the next year, right?
Yeah, but you're providing donuts and coffee, so that's cool.
All right, good. All right. No, it's actually much less of a commitment than I expected. It's, you think you do it a couple times a year, and they pick up all the stuff. So we are provided the bags. Sorry, my mouth is dry. We're provided the bags. And we're also provided the vests, right? And hats. So we're provided the safety equipment and the bags. And then I told Dave and Cameron that I'd buy grabbers for everyone, so nobody has to bend over. And also from an infection control perspective, we can provide gloves or whatever. So we're going to offer it up to residents and staff to be able to volunteer to do that. It's just a couple times a year. It's not a huge number of people, but I think it's something that we can be proud of. And obviously we are all wanting to be good stewards of our local environment. So this is one way that we can do that. Thank you, Jason. Jason is so good. Yes, Dave, you're right. Thank you, Jason. Okay, next, Poker Face. So we have gotten some confirmation of some exciting information just hot in off the presses today. And Cameron has sent an email to everyone that she knows was an extra. Okay, so look in your emails. We're going to do a premiere, okay, red carpet and all. So you're going to get to dress up, and we'll have some paparazzi, and we'll do interviews with you. But we're going to actually premiere the episode. We have obtained the Peacock subscription that we need to do this. So Peacock, which is airing the episode of Poker Face that we were featured in, is, I believe, February 16th. So keep an eye on your calendars, but we'll air it here in the PAC. And the nice thing about the streaming service is we'll be able to access it and re-air it. So we'll do it multiple times. We also obtained the subscription for Peacock, which is a streaming service, which means that we're going to be able to pick up content there to increase our movie rotation. So we took care of that. So having access to Peacock, they stream all kinds of content, series and movies and things like that. So keep an eye on Poker Face, and pretty soon it'll be showtime for that. The actual series starts on Peacock January 26th. So maybe we can figure out a streaming schedule for all the episodes. So Jason and I will work on getting all the episodes streamed here in the PAC. We'll do a series. We won't binge watch it. We'll do like one a day for a week or something. And then we'll gear up for our episode, which is the 7th episode. We are live streaming right now, which is the first time that's been officially said, I think, out loud in months. Jason, thank you for everything that you did to get us back up online. So what that means is it took a lot of troubleshooting and a lot of minds to come together to figure out what we needed to do to get our channel 1340 live streaming back up and functioning, but also to be improved. So not to belabor this, but maybe a year and a half ago, the benefit fund had come to us and said that they wanted to finance an upgrade to our AV system in here. And so we had contracted with a vendor to identify the components that we would need to upgrade. And that included that camera back there, which was upgraded. It included the addition, a replacement of these microphones in the ceiling to do different things. And once we enhanced those things, it actually ended up complicating the relationship between the new stuff and the existing stuff. So through months of troubleshooting, we have since not only upgraded the camera and the microphone system in the ceiling, which picks up room, volume. We have updated the control system, which is on the wall. We have replaced the brains behind the whole operation, which is a computer processing unit in that stack, which had not previously been replaced since opening, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, since it's been ages since that was updated. And what that upgrade allowed was more fast streaming. I mean, it had higher processing unit, more memory, more capability. So everything that the camera is picking up here and sending down to our control room in the basement, which is where the streaming comes from, this amped everything up. So at this point, the upgrade that the benefit fund was seeking roughly a year and a half ago should all be in effect. So you should be able to stream a lot of content again from the pack. I'm happy about that, but I'm also nervous about it because I love seeing everybody back. And I do think, and this is real for those of us that went through COVID and then coming back, people got very used to not coming down because it was the convenience of being able to watch in 1340. But there's a huge value in being together, maybe not all the time, but getting to know your neighbors, because the main benefit of this community, and our biggest asset by far is our people. And you don't get that same community feel being streaming. So it's really good for those that can't, but I'm really going to try to be encouraging people to come down to things because community is very important. Thank you, Jason, for everything that you did with that. And thank you very much to the benefit fund for financing that. One more announcement related to the benefit fund. 2. So our benefit fund, which began maybe 5 years ago, is now the balance is up to over $120,000. And we do not have a formal development department here like a college or university would do. So that's through 1,000 little donations and some bigger ones. And the market didn't help us initially, last year. Now it's kind of come back. But the benefit fund has 3 stated purposes, which go back many years. One is to provide staff scholarship. One is to provide opportunity for resident cultural enhancement through speaker series and other things. So rather than maybe volunteer speakers that we bring in for different topics, to be able to pay for paid speakers at a higher level. That's one of the stated purposes. And the third purpose is to fund studies, not the work, but the studies of special, I would call them like sexy projects that the residents want to see done at the community. And the impetus for all of that goes back maybe 10 years, 8 or 10 years, when we all kind of looked at each other and said, the design of the health center stinks. If you're in skilled nursing, the care is impeccable, but the way that the architects design the building, when you're in skilled nursing at the nurses station, so not in your individual rooms, but when you're at the nurses station, which is in the center of a cross, there is no natural light. Same thing in Garden View, which is our memory care unit. It was designed just as an L. So the only natural light is located in the resident rooms. So when you're in the corridors, that is landlocked. Assisted living is the same. So some very concerned families going back 7 or 8 years that had loved ones in the health center had come and said, we need to open this building up. we need to put an atrium in, we need natural light. And at that time, we were not even close to being full, you know, and we were trying to stabilize financially. There wasn't a hope in hell that we were going to be able to do anything large scale at that point in time, but we always kind of put a marker in it. And the benefit fund created that funding opportunity for these kinds of studies based on that project. And as I'm standing in front of you today, I announced to the benefit fund committee today that we had a schematic design for the work. And we talked about whether or not the benefit fund would in fact consider funding the architectural study to get that work done, to open up the space, to bring the natural light in. And they were very in favor of it. They've not voted officially on it. But we are very excited because we have actually identified a plan, a specific plan, architectural and landscape architecture to open up the spaces within the constraints that we have without spending $7 million. And the benefit fund is considering it. So we'll talk about it again next month. But this is something that has been a very long time coming. I don't know if anybody here remembers when we first started talking about this, feels like 100 years ago. But we're really excited about this. And if the benefit fund will agree to finance the architectural piece of it, and the landscape architecture, maybe not in full, but at least a significant part of it as is in its purpose statement, then Woodland Pond would identify the capital funds to actually do the work. And we would be able to allow those units to be opened up and bring that natural light in. So that was very exciting for us. It's been a very, very long time coming. So I'm pleased to announce that to everybody. That is all that I had on my list today. If anybody has any questions on any topic that I announced or anything else, I'm all yours.
Yakov first.
Two things, Michelle. I mean, how is that project supposed to merge with the idea of revamping the whole facility? I mean, that's
So in the overall overhaul of the community project that we're doing with Greystone, which is the reprogramming and redevelopment of the community, they would tie in a way, but Greystone is very focused on moving maybe interior walls and carpets and paint. They're not so much construction and blowing out walls and creating an atrium space. So we would begin this if we can make sure that we have the financing for it and can move forward. We would do this in tandem, but we wouldn't wait.
And the other thing is regarding the audio system. Unfortunately, when we had the last resident association meeting, we gave an overview of the program of council connections, where we had snippets and we had an interview with Dave Smith about the whole idea that started during his presidency. Unfortunately, the sound was set in a way that I was here in the room and Connor was here and we couldn't figure it out why it was so bad. But I just want to everybody know that all those recordings are on the YouTube channel. You can go and look at them anytime, and they are definitely much, much better, not comparison. So it was a hitch, a problem,
Yeah.
that opportunity. But I don't want people to feel that this was a whole waste of time.
Okay.
Mr. Tool. I'm going to go here.
Michelle, I just want to thank you in your talk yesterday that we got this morning in the email. You brought up the topic of residents in the health center wanting to participate in independent living and the obstacles. And I believe it was the healthcare committee, I could be wrong, that said they want to try to establish some kind of program where residents here can at least escort people to different programs. And I think it's just so critical that I thank you for it.
It is definitely critical. I mean, this has always been something that I've thought about, but to hear a resident literally sit in front of me and say, we stay in our rooms most of the day. And I know that she's physically capable. I was so happy to see though, and I don't usually see this. She was sitting in the lobby yesterday afternoon by the fire. So we're going to reemphasize this. We're going to be working on, and I want to partner, Margaret, go ahead, Jason, Margaret's got her hand up, with the Health Center Committee to figure out how we can do just that.
I just wanted to say that, and Taylor and Jill are not here who are really spearheading this, but can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Who are really spearheading this, but in any case, on February the 14th, we're going to have an information meeting, if all details work out on that, about having we don't want to call it volunteer because we understand that's a problem, but friendly visitor or some such title to have people from the independent living go over to the health center to help escort people to events here in our PAC or wherever the event might be. And that is in the works. So come on the 14th to find out more about it. And there'll be articles in the newsletter.
Thanks so much, Margaret and Taylor. And who else did you say? Oh, Jill. Yes, thank you very much, everyone, and the Health Center Committee.
I'm not sure where to put this, but a couple of years ago, we were given the opportunity of contributing to Woodland Pond by reducing the amount of return that we expected on the payment that we made when we came in. And I think several people did that. My understanding is that reduces our overall capital debt. Is that correct?
So we don't have capital debt per se. We aren't continually borrowing for debt, but what Maddie's talking about is those of you that have a refundable entrance fee. You would have received a piece of paper when you moved in that indicated to us who should receive your refundable portion when you pass away or move out or whatever, whenever that refund is due. Well, really, it only applies when you pass away, because if you move out, you get it. So let's say when you pass away eventually, who is to receive your refund, and you're given a number of options. Included in that form was an option to give some of that back to Woodland Pond or to the benefit fund. Maddie, we haven't redone that in many years, but yes. So typically what happens in that case, we have actually had pledges for residents to do so. None of those residents have passed yet. So right now they're all in pledge status, essentially. So we are anticipating that when that resident passes away, assuming they don't change their form, Woodland Pond will receive those funds. My expectation, and I'm going to make myself a note to do this with Christy, is to somehow earmark those funds as resident designated. I don't want to get so far into the weeds that it becomes restricted, but somehow figure out a way that that money gets set aside and could potentially be used to fund a project like this, rather than just going into operations. I think that's probably what you're getting at, right? Go ahead.
Well, one of the things I'm suggesting is that it wasn't mentioned again, as far as I know. It was mentioned once, and I realized that most of my grandchildren are about to finish college, which is the thing that I was most worried about. And I decided I needed to protect less of what I had left. And I can't tell you how easy it was. I just went in and re-signed a paper. I didn't need a witness. I didn't need a lawyer. I didn't need anything. And I felt so damn virtuous. I just floated around. But I really would suggest that people think about it. It's a pretty harmless way to help Woodland Pond.
And I appreciate that, Maddie, very much. So we can put information about how you can update your refund designation form, as long as we have no concerns about your capacity at the time that you come into the business office to change it. As Maddie said, you don't need to, doesn't need to be notarized, and you can choose 80 different places to send it to. You could have a refund and give $10,000 to Woodland Pond, give, the rest to your grandchild, send some to the Ulster County SPCA, however you indicated to us. That's how we would do that. Incidentally, if you do not give us instructions and we do not have a form on file for you, it has to be probated because it will go to your will, your estate. So if it is the only asset that you have that would otherwise be probated, you might want to really make sure that it's not going to your estate, because if you have one child or one heir and they think, I'm the only thing, it's not going to have to get probated. It will have to get probated. So it's a good idea to periodically go in and go into the business office and find out what your form says. And we can put periodic reminders in the Chanticleer and things like that. But yes, we would certainly appreciate if you would consider Woodland Pond in that. Other questions for me while I'm here? We got one in the back and then.
Mr. LaPerche.
Thank you. My wife and I are new residents here, and a question came up at the Men's Coffee, and it was, is there a defibrillator in the facility here? And the answer came back that there is one in the health center. However, there is none here. I would think with the age situation, including myself, I have AFib, that a defibrillator within this facility should be someplace near the nurse's office.
So that's a great question. I'm not sure who answered the question, but there's very few people that would know the answer to that, and I am one of them. We have several defibrillators in the building. We do not have any defibrillators deployed at either of our front desks. And the reason is because defibrillators on a campus like this are a very complicated thing. There are questions about liability. There are questions about Good Samaritan laws, and there are very significant questions about advanced directives. So, and I'll explain that in a little bit of detail in a second. So years ago, we had AEDs at both concierge and reception. Never has there been an occasion that one has been needed in independent living. So I just want to make that clear in the first place. As our relationship with the New Paltz Rescue Squad really developed, and given that they're 5 minutes away, we collectively as a community decided to put the defibrillators away because staff were expressing a great amount of unease of utilizing them. Our board was describing a great amount of unease of having any of us use them, not knowing resident advanced directives and potentially what implications that could have in your own life and for us legally. So this has been something that's been discussed quite a bit over the years. I am always open to discuss it further. So the issue with the advanced directives, for those of you that, need a little bit of just clarification on what I'm talking about. At this point, it's my hope that all of you have prepared a MOLST form or have advanced directives somewhere that someone knows. They should be in your emergency packets, period, end of story. Because when something happens to you and either you are found and we have to call EMS, or you contact for EMS, or someone contacts for EMS for you, they're going to go to your emergency packets, which are in the cabinet above your microwave or near your microwave there, okay? You should check for those today, make sure they're current. The most important piece of paper in there, well, there's 3 things that are super important in there: your MOLST form or your advanced directives, your medication list, and which hospital you prefer. Everything else we can get to them. We don't have any idea, just looking at you, what your advanced directives are. Whereas in the health center, we do. So a nurse or a staff member knows right away, this person wants full CPR or they don't. Or this person wants a defibrillator attempt or they don't. We don't have that same level of insight into all of you on a real-time basis right here sitting in this room. I don't even know, looking at you, if the split is 50-50. We have the copies of your MOLST forms, but being as how this is independent living, I don't have somebody tallying it up. Like, I don't have a file in my office that tells me how many residents are a DNR. I can look you up individually because I have it in my system, but it's a very uneasy area and it's a gray area. We feel a great amount of comfort with the fact that the rescue squad is literally right across the street and they get here very quickly. I would be willing to certainly open the conversation up more. I have asked, because I had some advance notice that this conversation might come up. I've asked my team to revisit and make sure that the AEDs that we do have on campus are functioning. They haven't been checked in a long time because we took them offline. We want to make sure that they're intact and they're working. I have no reason to believe that they're not, but seeing as how this might be something that comes up as a desire, I want to have them ready. So my intention going from here is to talk to my colleagues in this field in New York State. We have a trade organization called Leading Age New York that is simply senior living communities of all types. All of the CEOs of the CCRCs in New York State are all my colleagues there, and we're on listservs. We communicate these kinds of issues with each other continually. I'm also going to speak to leadership at Leading Age New York to find out what they find, not only for CCRCs, but all types of retirement communities here in New York, to find out what's standard practice. And of course, we will revisit this with legal counsel, because the last time we visited it with legal counsel was probably 8 years ago. So the most important thing, again, is to understand and be confident in the fact that as long as you wear your PERS and your PERS is operating, if you have an emergency or somebody's around you and finds you with an emergency, you're going to use that PERS. You're going to get an immediate response, and we're going to call the rescue squad and they'll be here right away. CPR, for those that may ask that question, CPR is a very tough one. CPR is, especially for elderly people, a very, very traumatic experience. It breaks bones. There's no assurance that it's going to work. It's just, all of this is very gray. So this is why it is hypercritical that we know exactly what your wishes are, and that the rescue squad knows that too. So please, we will continue this conversation, Mr. LaPerche. I am always willing to talk to people about their preferences. We won't do it in this room, but you can make a meeting with me and we could talk about it. But we're going to dust the conversation off, as I know it's been brought up again. So nothing's off the table, but we need to just be thoughtful and cautious. And that's the history on it, if anyone has any questions. Tamar?
I know that in the next few weeks, there's going to be a program on medical assistance in dying. And maybe somehow or other, this can be linked to a follow-up discussion.
Perhaps,
extending from that.
Yeah, I think we're going to be planning on doing a roundtable discussion after our MAID presentation, or maybe we could do a separate discussion. But I can't, if you take one thing away from this meeting, it is so, so important for your autonomy and your personal choice that somewhere in your emergency packet, we know exactly what your advanced directives are, because whether it's our staff, we bring a nurse over, Angel comes to you, whoever responds, we need to know what your advanced directives are. And we're going to look in that packet. So please make sure those are current, and if you have any questions about that whole process, Mary Jo's got blanks outside of her office. She's a notary. She can talk you through the whole thing about what the process is. So please just help us help you in an emergency situation like that. Did you have a question, Helen?
We got Joe first.
Okay, Joe, and then Helen.
I had a question. Thank you, actually. I am so glad that you funded Ryan Pomeroy's position and that you hired him, because he is invaluable in all kinds of technical things: computers, Kindles, Garmins, tablets, everything. Printers, super wonderful. Thank you.
Well, that's Jason's hire, so you can thank Jason for Ryan.
And it helps Jason too.
Ryan is our resident technology assistant.
Michelle, have you ever investigated into cleaning the major ducts, air ducts?
We do that. So they're already on a rotational major air duct cleaning schedule.
Oh, good.
So we do a wing, an entire tower every year on a 3-year rotation.
Okay.
So that's something that we started doing, I would say 6 or 7 years ago. We have a firm that does them. It costs us about $10,000 a year to do each of the major wings and the community building. But we did that because, well, we could talk about this for years, but we have a very significant emergency preparedness program here, and we've got policies on all kinds of things. Our safety committee had become aware of a duct fire that happened, and I didn't even know such a thing could happen. But they can accumulate dust and debris over the years. So we invested in that program years ago, and we do part of the building every year on a 3-year rotation.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Other questions or comments for me? Okay, you're free. Bye-bye.